Today's podcast episode may have been recorded in the bathroom, but you didn't hear that from me. You're listening to the VO Life.
Welcome to the VO Life, a podcast for those who are trying to figure out how to build a career in VO from a guy who just seems to always learn the hard way. Now here's your host, Troy Holden.
Hey, welcome back to the VO Life. I am Troy Holden, your blue-collar voice of choice, a little rumbly, raspy with all this crazy weather changing, and it's hot one day, it's cold the next, it's raining, it's flooding, there's a wind thing come through Texas and here, and metal's flying off of barns, and trees are falling everywhere. What a mess it's been, but happy that everything is in pretty good shape for us. We had a few pieces of metal to replace, a lot of tree limbs to pick up. I had one downspout that came off the house, but we were blessed that that's it. That's not bad considering the damage everywhere else. But it's just been one of those crazy end of winter going into spring where spring is trying so hard to get here early, and I don't know if it's going to make it or not. This is just a episode to talk about some things we have coming up over the next few months. As you guys know, I'll be going down to VO Atlanta, and the plans are down there to try to get a lot of audio snippets from people about why they come to VO Atlanta and what it means to them. And I plan to do that and air that, but I have a lot of interviews coming up, and let me tell you about some of those. Paul Smith, the marketing guy. Yeah, Paul, the guy you see on YouTube all the time. Paul will be on here pretty quickly before VO Atlanta. That episode will air. And he did a great interview with JMC on the changes and what it's going to be like. And I really look forward to getting there this year. Last year I was a nervous wreck. This year I'm really excited about it, confident about going. Last year I didn't even really think I should go, but I went. Also going to have Don Barnes on, who is a audio guru, those of you that know him and follow him in his groups. And I asked him to bring Donnie on as well because I thought we could talk a little bit about Donnie's career and the things he's done and get them both. Interesting folks, and they have their podcast, and you may listen to them, but I may ask some questions that they won't talk about on their own, right? You never know. Another person coming on sometime up in April will be Brad Highland. Most of you know Brad he's an accredited JMC coach. I've worked with Brad. Brad is fantastic. He's also a seasoned VO and does really well. And American Voice Power is Brad's thing. And I really, Brad's just a great guy. You'll enjoy hearing from him and his methods, and we'll talk about his career. I guess one that's not really a big surprise because he's on a lot of podcasts and it's good for his business is Mark Scott. That Mark Scott, the guy that's on YouTube every Friday, the guy that comes out with the marketing playbook that does so many webinars to help you grow your business. Mark's going to come on, but I'm going to do my best for he and I to talk about some things maybe he doesn't ordinarily talk about on a podcast. Maybe we're going to talk more about where he lives and his family and his hobbies. And, you hear him talking about Boo and some things, and you see his family sometimes on the video feeds, but, really get to personally know more about Mark. I mean, I heard him recently on the Gurus podcast with Linda, and they talked a lot about his background and his radio stuff, and he really seemed to enjoy all that. So I don't want to try to repeat what they did, but again, trying to talk about some things maybe you wouldn't normally talk to Mark Scott about because you all know what he can do, right? You just want to know more about him. And there are others in the pipeline that I have reached out to for April and May and June. I'm trying to schedule further out ahead to get more people in. I want you to hear from people that are in the industry that have something to offer and that have a story to tell and things like that. Now, let me also invite you to another podcast that has nothing to do with voiceover that I host. And the reason I want to invite you to this is it may give you a marketing idea because I do this for my local community. It is called the Portland Morning Brew. It is the Portland Chamber of Commerce, and it's not Portland, Oregon. It's Portland, Tennessee. A little small town, 10,000 people or so, but there are a lot of locals who work here, who have grown up here, that work in the banks, in real estate, that are in local government, the police chief, the fire chief, there's just a lot of interesting people. We've talked to the person that manages the H&R Block. I've talked to people that manage a physical therapy place. And it's kind of a neat little marketing tool that I use to get more known in the community. And in all honesty, I have, gotten business from it. I have gotten some local radio spots that I've done. I've done some bartering. I've done some IVR telephony. So you can get work in so many different ways, and that's just another tool I use. But go take a listen and see what you think. It's the Portland Morning Brew. And we try to air a new episode every Monday, and I think there's 29, 30, something like that. And, it's not popping the downloads like the VO Life is, but we've got a pretty good outreach here now that we've broken 1,000 people, and we're so happy with that. And I say I think everybody in the group that's been around since it started. I think Charles Bain was our first member, if I remember correctly, and Charles is one of the admins, and Louise Porter, Brad Grahowski, who else? There's so many people, and I know I'll forget names, but Alden Schoenberg, Dana Ramoni, that are good friends. All these folks are busting their tail in VO, and they're always out there to help keep a watch on the group. And there's more. I know I missed somebody that I shouldn't have missed. Probably a few. But anyway, that's just some of the things I've got coming up. I just wanted to drop a little short information session. And before I leave, let me mention this. Yes, I'm going to VO Atlanta. Yes, I'm doing 2 X sessions. I finally did decide on the second one. If you didn't know or hadn't seen on the page, the first one is radio imaging with AJ McKay. I wanted to do this last year and missed it. I am doing a little bit of imaging, but I want to learn a little more about it and try to stretch, and then eventually get a better demo where I can go after more of that work. It's just a market I really want to work in, kind of like automotive was, and thank goodness that is starting to come to fruition. Then the next step that I took was I signed up for my breakfast buddy that I had breakfast with last year, and we hung out up in Kevin Kilpatrick's room at the when Kevin did the live podcast recording, and that's Dave Fenoy. Dave is a legend when it comes to video games, and I have really done okay with animation stuff. I've done 2 feature animations that were entered in short film festival things, and they've done well and got good reviews. I have done a decent little amount of game trailers. I stopped doing them because the pay was not really great, but I did several of them to get the experience under my belt. And I have also done a couple of longer form animations, one where I played 2 characters that were Japanese English, and another one where I was if you look at what was the old movie, The Space Odyssey, and Hal was the computer or whatever, I think I was a computer, and I got killed in the end, but that's okay. I was in 2 different episodes of that, and that was fun. But anyway, I want to take a shot at that as far as is it for me or not, the video game side, and I think it probably could be because of listening to Dave on some podcast and how he describes it and how it works and how it's done and what you have to bring to the table. I think I can do it. I'm really confident that I can do it, because if I look at what I book, even most of my commercial bookings, I seldom book me. And they're always like, well, be authentic and be yourself. And I'm like, well, I don't book when I do that. I book better when it's a dog in a commercial, or it's the dishwashers talking. You know what I'm saying? And you can characterize it and become something else. And a lot of the natural conversational stuff that I do, I have booked some things. Yes, I booked some regional stuff and been blessed to get all of that. And a lot of it may just be one line or a couple of sentences where you're one of 3 or 4 people, in a collage of people. But still, mostly for me, it's the storyteller narration type stuff where I can drop into that voice and become that folksy storyteller, or some of the comical, funny stuff to be a character in a commercial, or even in e-learning stuff, where they need character voices, where you're the disgruntled employee or you're this or that. That's usually where I do better. So I want to jump into it and try it. So, got that going on and just wanted to let that go. I know I have done several episodes where we've talked about demos and how my opinion had changed on demos. And I said this year, I said it last year, I hope next year I can get a pro demo. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me announce today that I have paid ahead for 2 demos that will be done by JMC. The first one will be political. We will be recording that in the middle of March. And the second one will be a commercial demo. And I'm not positive what our record dates will be on that, because VO Atlanta's coming up, and that's going to put a kibosh on that, I'm sure, for a while. So it'll probably be late, not late March, but probably early April or some mid-April or whatever. I'm sure he'll schedule that when appropriate. We'll probably get through the first one first, so he'll know how I do on being directed and all that. So I've had a couple people ask, why are you getting a commercial demo? Yours is pretty good, and you make some demos for other people. And yes, and I always tell you, they are not professional level demos. I've signed with agents with my own demo. I've had some really good advice from people on how to construct them and how to put them together and how to make them sound. And I just, I did my best on it, and I'd let peers listen and say, what do you think about the order? Should I change it? What do you think? And, so yeah, I'm proud of those because they've done wonders for me. But my thing is, here lately, my batting average has gone down on when I reach out to an agent. The last 3 I've reached out to, I got the, what do you say, the door, got shown the door, basically. No, we already have too many people that sound like you, or blah, 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 blah. And I kind of figure maybe it's because that demo is not spectacular. So I want to test that water. I do believe it's important. I do believe I can represent and be directed into anything anybody needs. So I think it's okay for me now to have that polished, perfect demo to put out there and say, this is what you'll get when you book me. And your demo should be representative of that, correct? And then the political one, now it only makes sense. Next year is a huge election year. There should be a lot of political work, and I want to start concentrating as soon as possible on things in my area of the country down here in the south, southeast, even maybe southwest, is to say, here are the styles I can offer in political spots and see if it'll work, because I booked political last year fairly well with a homemade demo, but usually just sending 1 or 2 samples or auditioning. And so I want to have that polished demo for a weapon. Just like having that automotive demo, and I was able to market that demo, and I picked up 2 clients. It took a few months, but I picked up 2 clients, and I hope to do the same on the political side by being smart with the marketing, going after certain things and knowing where to send it and who to send it to, and going from there. And it'll work if I do that the right way. So that's the change, and there was a long time ago I'd said, well, you don't really need a pro demo. And at that time, because I was so new, I didn't. But I'm to the point now, I feel like I'm on that crux of, you've either got to go that way or you got to come back this way where you were. And I want to keep going that way if I can. And the change is, last month or February, 68% of my income was direct income. That would be the automotive clients. That would be some e-learning. That would be the churches I do sermon bumpers for and podcast intros. That would be the repeat business I have with some people I've had for a long, long time, and I've went up on them and they didn't leave. And I went way up from where I started with them, and they're still with me. So, yes, you can raise prices. And you should, especially when after you start out and you realize, really, I could get that much, and you work your way to that. You're not going to get it the first bite, but last January I went up on the guy, and this January I went up again, and this time over double what I went up last time to. Let me just use an example, and this is not it, but let's just say I went from 3 cents to a nickel, and then this year I went to 10 cents. And he was like, oh, man, that's going to be tough. You know, things are tough right now with the economy. I said, yeah, that's why I'm going up. But the theory of it is you want to go up, you want to work less and get more. And if you're working towards those GVAA rates and you're close, you're not going to have to do 20 jobs a day or, 20 a week or whatever it is you're doing. And it's kind of freaking me out because I know I'm doing less and I don't have to be in the booth as much. And then at the end of the week, I go, wow, I had a good week, but I don't feel like I worked as much or all that much because I was so used to hustling so hard. And now that it's more normal as it should be, I'm adjusting to that. And I like it. It really opens the door to have time to work on the marketing and to, actually schedule out the podcast and do things to where when I was in this part-time and working another job, everything was on the weekend when it came to podcast and extras and marketing. But now I'm to the point where I'm almost not doing anything at all on Saturday or Sunday unless it's just, cleaning up down here, maybe reorganizing some files on my PC or maybe moving things around in the booth to try to get it better. And still toying with the idea of would love to build or open this up and have a bigger space and just have one space. And that's still in the books because I've built some sound panels and I'm going to experiment here in the next couple weeks, hopefully. It's a busy week, a lot of personal things going on with farrier coming out and got to go to the dog vet on Tuesday and got to go to the horse vet on Wednesday and hopefully the end of the week will smooth out. But I did want to drop just an update of what's coming on the podcast and looking at, the fun that's expected at VO Atlanta, and also wanted to share the news about the demo. It's not to blow my horn and say, ha, 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 I'm getting 2 JMC demos. Boy, you guys don't know how I have toiled over this for months. And then over the last few weeks, having to choose who I wanted to do the demo. And I have my own reasons. They're my personal reasons. It's not to say that I think Chuck Duran is fantastic. My friends have had demos with him. They're fantastic. There's other people that are fantastic. But I just felt this was where I needed to do that. And right, wrong, or indifferent, some people will beat me up. That's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up other than to say, man, that was really hard to let go of that much money. But on the other hand, you got to invest, you got to try. And so far, some of the investments have paid off, and I'm just going to have to hang in there, like going to VO Atlanta, like spending the money on this or that. I upgraded to RX-10 a while back, and I thought, I don't really need it. What I got's working. But after I got it and saw how much faster it was, heck, I was saving 30 minutes a day, it felt like, because it renders so much faster. But, yeah, it does. All right, folks, have a good one. I can take nothing and ramble on for hours, but I want to thank everybody that's been coming to the workshops. The last automotive workshop will have been over with after by the time this airs. That was March 7th. And there is another commercial workshop coming up the end of March. There's one spot left. And when I say we're done doing these for probably a long time, I'm not kidding. because, Jenna and I both are, we both work in the industry. We're digging and doing our thing. And it really takes a lot of time to put these together. It's not really a money-making thing. It's great to help people. I'll continue to offer the consultations if people want to, consult about the business and ask, how do you do this? How do you do that? And spend 30 minutes asking questions. But the workshop thing, I just don't want anybody to get the idea that we're coaching, and we're not. She gives way more advice in there than I give because she's got the experience. And me, I'm a listener. I'm a person that can kind of real quickly determine, does that sound good or not? Is that, would I like to hear that on the radio or TV, or if that was an e-learning thing, would I pay attention? And that's just, that's where I come in. I can give that. And there's occasion, on the automotive thing that I can say, we're not allowed to do it that way. They'll want it this way, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, it's all fun, and I hope people have gotten a lot out of it. We may do it again in the fall, but for spring and summer and all, I want to spend my evenings outside and doing things and trying to keep and stay healthy. I have stuck to my guns this year on changing my eating habits a lot. At this age, I don't lose as fast as I hoped, but I have lost about 16, 17 pounds this year. So I'm losing on average maybe, 5 to 6 pounds a month, where I used to could lose that in a week. But at this age and with limited activity, and that's what's hurting me. So I'm going to have to make a pledge after VO Atlanta to come back and say in April, I'm going to have to start going to the gym X number of times a week and make it happen, because this old body is not going to get any better, and it's not going to burn any calories sitting in this booth. All right, folks, have a good one. VO Life, come to the Facebook page. We'd love to have you if you're not there in the group. Appreciate everybody listening. And, time to shut up and move on. Have a good one. Thanks a lot for being here.
This has been the VO Life with Troy Holden. If you'd like to consult with Troy one-on-one, visit his website and schedule time at TroyHoldenVoices.com. Join the VO Live Facebook page and interact with other new voice talent. Join the VO workouts or the midweek meetup on the VO Live page events. And be sure and leave a review on Apple and let us know what you'd like us to cover on the podcast. You can also get all of the episodes on Troy's YouTube page. Just search for Troy Holden Voices. That boy is everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Next thing you know, he'll have a streaming TV show. God forbid. And I will.